Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me. It is Friday night. We're live. This is the fun stuff. For me at least, this is fun. I enjoy this. You see, I do not have my lovely wife with me. I'm sorry guys, you're stuck with this mug tonight. Anyways, there was a lot of things going on this week, and actually like a week and a half. A ton. But before we get into that, I just want to kind of recognize everyone for being here. Thank you so much. Really appreciate everyone. I see Joe is here already. Do me a favor, if you want me to answer any of your questions, put a Q before your question or put at JCristina, and that will make it pop out really easily in the chat. So definitely do that. Also, if you are new here and you never hung out with us before, or even if you're old, put a little emoji, put something in the chat so that I know that you're here, so I can take a look and I'll be like, oh, look at that. There's someone new, even though you've been here for like weeks. Stalking. Don't be a stalker. Anyways, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Joe. Who do we got here? Fragile 1976. How you doing? Good evening from New Mexico. Roy. How are you doing, Roy? From New York. Mike. Good afternoon, Mike. Let's see, who do we have here? Josh, Piney Woods, how are you doing from Texas? Travis, let's see, Dennis, how are you doing, Dennis? Glenn is here. Thank you so much, Glenn, for being here. Mike Hallmark, thank you for being here. Peter is in the house. Thank you. He is our moderator. Appreciate you being here as always. Peter is the man. He is the guy. He's the guy who doesn't even have Starlink. He's just here because he's a nice guy. And he's in Denmark, I believe, right? Overseas, like at 2 o'clock in the morning or something. And he's still here. That's dedication. I appreciate you. Eric, how are you doing, Eric? Appreciate you. Let's see, John, good afternoon from Texas. Willis, who else we have? Cowboy John, Jeff, Trev 2000, James. There's a bunch of you in here. Thank you. Listen, I'm sure you've seen a lot of the videos, most likely that I did in the last week and a half. We're going to go through some of them. And if you have any questions about any of those or anything else, maybe you want to ask me why in the hell I haven't done anything with this yet, right? The Raspberry Pi, right? This thing is awesome. This is absolutely awesome. I'm going to do so much with this, but I've done nothing so far. Bear with me. All right, bear with me. There's been a lot going on. I've been testing a lot of things. There's a lot of companies that have been reaching out. They want me to test products. And then what ends up happening is I have to look at all the products and see if it's something that I want to test because it's a product that I think that you would like, number one. And number two, it's something that I can be unbiased in review and say, this is something that's good and I recommend it to you while it is actually good. All right. I'm not one of those people that just take money from these companies and just tell you to go and pick something up just because so I can make $1. It doesn't work that way. So I have to look at all of this stuff and really analyze and see if it's something that's going to be really good for you, good for me. And if it is, then I will take them on as like a sponsor or even just review their product. There's so many products I can't even tell you that I get in here that you don't even see because they're junk. Anyways, let me go up to the top, see if there's any kind of questions that pop in here. And then I want to go through some things. Let's see. What's up? Dominic, how are you doing? Gary, how are you doing? 250 down, 30 up. Look at that. Gary says, how's it going? Starlink's getting faster, getting 250 down and 30 up. That is really good. That's really good, Gary. There's a lot of people saying that Starlink is actually going quicker now than it was before. There are a couple of hundred of those version 2 minis up there in Leo, and some of them are working as of now. I just did a video and I talked about the new lasers that are on these things and how badass they are. Didn't say that, but we're going to say that here when we're live. Just simply badass. Just kick ass. Crazy lasers. Just the speeds are nuts. Like every laser can handle like 100 gigabits per second. Sick. And it's a laser. And some people didn't know this, but the lasers are actually faster than fiber. So about 40% faster. which is kind of crazy. So I was talking in my video, and I was saying, listen, if you are trying to get data from point A to point B, and point A to point B is more than 3,000 miles, laser's faster, lower latency than fiber. And a lot of people don't know that. They think that, fiber is like the next best thing to slice bread, where it is terrestrially. It is definitely the way to go. If you can get fiber, don't get Starlink, get fiber. Don't get me wrong here. All right. It's definitely worth getting fiber if you can, because you can get exponentially quicker. It's also symmetrical, right? So meaning that you would get like 300 up and 300 down, right? Whereas with Starlink, you're getting 100, 150, as Gary's saying, 250 down, but the up speed is 30. Right? Whereas with fiber, usually it's symmetrical. So you get like 300 by 300, 500 by 500. We just had we had 3 fiber companies solicit our community, finally, after 20 years. Anyways, they solicited our community, AT&T, Hotwire, and Blue Stream, I think it's called, Blue Stream. I don't know. There's 3 different companies, and they're all the exact same type of thing. 300 by 300, 500 by 500, or 1,000 by 1,000, which is a gigabit connection, bidirectional. That's just badass. That's badass. Anyways, these new satellites are badass too, because they do have these new lasers on board, and this is going to change everything, like I said in my video. Anyways, let's get into some questions here before I fall behind, because that's what I do. Keep me on track, keep me on target, because I will start, that ADD shit will start coming out, and I'll just start I don't know, pulling flies out of the air, and I'll go down a tangent. When my wife is here, she'll kick me under the table. You won't know it. I'll feel it, but you won't know it. She'll kick me like when I just run on and on, like I'm doing now, All right, let's see. Who do we got here? Mike says, I get a dish tomorrow. It's different. What? I get a new dish tomorrow. It's different. I'll send an email. If it's different, I'll send an email. Please, Mike, definitely do that. That would be amazing. I want to see what you get. I don't think you're going to get a new dish. I think you'll probably get the normal dish that we have now. But who the hell knows? The FCC approved those new dish. And if you don't know it, I did a video about this. They are putting out a new dish, 2 new dish, actually. One dish is let's say a residential, but it's a mini version. So instead of it being rectangular like the one now, it's more square. But it's like 9 inches smaller. What the hell is that? That's really weird, right? 9 inches smaller. Whereas their corporate dish or their business dish is now going from square, which was like 20 by 22, to more rectangular. I don't know what they're doing, but whatever it is, there is two new dishes coming out. Definitely let me know. Send me an email, DM, however you want to do it, Mike. I would love to see if you do get a new one. That would be pretty cool. Let's see. Glenn says TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, guys. Thank God. Good evening from La Pine, Oregon. That is Explorer 867. How are you doing? Eric, bring it. JCristina. Let's see. John says hello from Texas. Let's see. Howdy, Cowboy John 88. Let's see. Who else do we got here? Who else do we have here? Do we see... Look at that. Flying Pretzel just came aboard. How are you doing, Flying Pretzel? Thank you for that super chat. Appreciate that. Says just finished up on a hot rod, now watching with the family and having pizza. I love it. Actually, I made pizza, homemade pizza tonight. It's amazing you're having pizza. It was good. It was actually really, really good. Homemade pizza. You can't beat that. Compared to what you get like from the stores and stuff, frozen hard as a brick, or even from like Papa John's and Little Caesars. They're okay, but it's just not the same. Make it at home. It's definitely better. Let's see, Michelle, how are you doing? Let's see, check the news next week on Elon Musk. You want to report on this, something people will know about bigger than Starlink. Really, what's going on? Let me hear the inside news. What is going on? Tell us all. What is going on next week with Elon? I just saw him like yesterday or today or something. He was like on the border. And he had like a 2-hour conversation with all of these people, like on the border of Mexico. I'm like on Texas or on the border. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And sure damn enough, he was there, like having like this big conversation with like the mayor and like the governor and like police and all this stuff. Man, it's like it's just crazy what's going on today. I don't even want to get into the politics of things, but I could tell you one thing. No matter how you look at it and who's involved, it doesn't make a difference who it is. If you don't have a border, you don't have a country. You just have a bunch of open land, right? There has to be some type of sovereignty. If not, then what do you got? You got nothing. Anyways, that's just my take on it. Let's see. And that's from a first-generation American. Both my both my mother and father come from Europe, and they took about 6.5 years to get into this country, and they had to learn a whole bunch of shit, more stuff than we had to learn in history class, right? They had to learn all kinds of stuff, and they had to do all kinds of stuff to get into this country. It was a long process. Like I said, I'm first generation American, and proud to be. Let's see, what else do we got here? Let's see, Buddy, how are you doing, Buddy, from North California? Hello, this is God. That's Krista. How are you doing? Dennis, can you purchase a closed caption option? That's interesting. I don't even know if that's even possible. Closed caption option. I know we could do closed caption. We could do CC on our videos. And matter of fact, I think YouTube does it automatically these days. I don't know. They have some algorithm running in the background. But live, I don't even know if that's even a thing. That's interesting. That's a good question. Let's see. Jose, how are you doing? How are you doing? From Tijuana. How you doing, Jose? Eric says, can you give us a quick update on Starship? Yeah, so Starship has been like an interesting thing. I did a report back on, I think it was last week, and I talked about Starship and what was going on and when it's going to launch again, right? Because a lot of people are really excited about seeing this thing launch again. Hopefully it doesn't blow up like a firework again. But it's ready to go, guys. Bottom line, it's ready to go. They completed all of the fixes that they needed to complete. Everything is done. I think there was like 63 in total fixes that they had to do from the FAA. Yeah, FAA. I don't know. So there was like a total of 56 were complete, or the FCC. Yeah. Anyways, there was 56 that were completed out of the 63, but they only needed 56 to be able to actually launch the rocket. So anyways, those are all done. The other 6 need to be done over the next couple of months or whatever after that. It doesn't need to be done now. So everything is finalized. Everything is ready, right? The pad is ready. The deluge system and all of the whole mechanism, the way it's all set up, everything is done. The thing is ready to go. What they're waiting on is the Fish and Wildlife people to give like the thumbs up on, no endangered, nothing, is going to be disturbed. So basically we're waiting on Fish and Wildlife. It's a bureaucracy. That's the way it is. Government is government. And if they don't, I can tell you one thing, if they don't like you, they will drag the shit out of their feet. They will make your life just a living hell. Right. So it's like you almost have to go along with them, so that at least they don't drag their feet too much. So you kind of like have to play their game and stuff. It's a horrible damn thing. It really is horrible, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's see. Craig, how are you doing, Craig? Happy Friday. Thanks again for the feedback on the 12-volt conversion. No worries. Appreciate that, Craig. So yeah, we don't know exactly what's going on, but supposedly, I've been hearing that the new versions of these kits are going to be running DC. So I'm hoping that is the case, because if it is, that means that you'll have a DC to AC converter, and instead of AC to DC, if you're trying to run off battery, it's just a lot better, right? You don't need an inverter and you don't lose as much juice. You're taking away from your battery when you have to run an inverter. So if you can run Starlink on DC, that is definitely a hell of a lot better. So that being said, we will see what ends up happening. I hope that's what ends up going down. So we'll see. Dennis, how you doing? Gary says solar outside lights. There you go, solar outside lights. Dennis says, question, Can you please purchase oh, that was the one I read before, the closed captioning. I don't know what's going on with closed captioning. I don't know if you can purchase it. You can't. I don't know. I don't think live. John says, good evening from Utah. How you doing, John? Let's see. Gary says, we stopped for 3 seconds. Anyone else having a problem? Right now, we're going with Speedify, redundancy on 2 servers. We are streaming on SpaceX, Starlink, and T-Mobile simultaneously right now. So we shouldn't go down. I don't know. Roy says, where's your beautiful wife? She is actually overseas. She's going to be overseas for a couple of weeks. She's working on a big project, so she's away. But she'll be back. And then as soon as she comes back, I'll drag her on here. So like I said, you don't have to see me as much. James says, question. I have been thinking of getting a mobile or the RV. Will it still be able to Wi-Fi call? Will I still be able to Wi-Fi call? Yes, it doesn't really matter. The only difference between your residential or a mobile or an RV type of setup is that you're going to get slightly slower speeds, especially during times of congestion, and you'll be able to take it wherever you want. That's the whole beauty of it. But you're going to pay about $30 more per month. That's it. Everything else stays the same. It's a little bit slower. But when it's not really congested, you're still okay. It's still good. Let's see. James, how you doing, James? James says, I have been thinking of getting, we just went through that. Flying Pretzel, thanks a lot. Once again, Mike says hello. Hallmark, thank you so much. Who else we have? Gary. Gary says more satellites went up today. They are launching these satellites at a breakneck speed. It's just been amazing to me on how quickly they've been able to turn around these satellites. Now that there's only 21 of them or 22 of them inside that fairing in comparison to before where it was like 50 plus, obviously they need to put more up quicker, right? To be able to equal the same amount. That's what you would think, but kind of not really. And the reason being is every one of these version 2 mini satellites is the equivalent to 4 of the old version 1.5s. So if you think about it, if they put, let's call it 21 in one of these capsules in one of those fairings and launch those up, when those are active, it'd be the equivalent to 44, it'd be times 8, right? That'd be 8, 80, let's see, 20, 40, 60, 80, 84. So instead of 50, when they launch just 4 sets of these, it'd be 84 of them in total. So it's one of these things that they are using these version 2 minis almost as kind of like a Band-Aid, right? They really didn't want to have to use these minis, put these minis up there. That was not their original intention. Their original intention was to put version 2s, the big ass ones, up there. But they're just too big for the Falcon 9. They cannot fit enough of them in the fairing to make it cost effective. So that being said, they're having to wait for Starship to actually launch and not blow up. And they're going to have to wait a few processes. So we're probably not going to wait. We'll probably see the first quarter of 2024 will be the earliest, I would think, that we'll see version 2, the full-size version 2 satellites in orbit. That's what I'm going to guess, because it's going to be some testing that they're going to need to do for at least a few months. Maybe they'll get them up this year, but it'll be the very end of the year. Let's see what else we have. Once again, let's see. Peter says, definitely put that Q before your question or at JCristina. That would be good. Jose says, background music is very relaxing. I have that on really low, so that's good. I'm glad you like that. Oscar, how you doing, Oscar? He has a question. He says, what is your thoughts on SpaceX Starlink on Alaska or UK, or in the Alaska offering some sort of gateway and offering 10 gigabyte service? So I don't know about what they're going to end up doing over there, Oscar. I really don't know. I've been hearing some weird stuff going on with using some type of like ground station, but then I just did a piece, like I think it was yesterday, day before, I don't know. It's all kind of mushing together, where I was saying that, look, the ground stations are going away. I was right. I told you guys about this. No more ground stations. Not just yet, but pretty damn soon, because all of the new satellites going up, like the satellites just that went up now, the ones that went up on Monday, they have those brand new lasers on board. And these lasers are badass. They're fast as hell. Once again, 100 gigabit lasers. So what they're doing is they are forming a mesh network in LEO. This is what I said that they were going to do way back, like a year and a half ago. So what does that mean? Basically what that is, and some people don't understand it, and I did a full explanation in my video, just in case you didn't see it. If you think about what they're doing, think about you having a mesh network, right? You have your main router, and then you have all of these APs in your home, right? All these access points. So your main router might be downstairs. Then you have an access point on your first floor. And then you have an access point on your second floor. Then you have an access point outside, right? Then you have an access point way back in the far side of the house where it's really far from the router, right? So you have all these access points. Well, that's exactly what SpaceX Starlink is doing with their network now. They are with those lasers. Remember, the first version, the version 1.0s didn't have lasers on board, whereas the version 1.5s, they got the original lasers. Now the 2.0 minis have the advanced lasers, and the more advanced, the faster lasers just went up Monday, was the first batch. So what they're doing is now each one of those APs, which would be access points in your home, are connected together. Well, it's the same thing holds true with the satellites. They're all connected together. So when data comes, let's say from your router up to your dish and then up to a satellite right above you, if it needs to communicate with another router, let's say, or another server on the other side of the world, 10,000, let's say, miles away, well, instead of going back down and through all the fiber and underneath the ocean through the fiber and all the rest of the crap, right? It doesn't need to do that anymore. What it will do is it will bounce the request from satellite to satellite to satellite to satellite to satellite to satellite till it gets to the other side of the planet and then beam it down. That's it. Literally at the speed of light, 40% faster than fiber optics. This is revolutionary. I know people don't really, some people get it, some people don't, but this is massive. It's basically just like your mesh system in your home. You have full functionality, you have full access no matter where you are, where you're sitting by the pool, or if you're sitting in the garage, or if you're sitting on the second floor, you're sitting on the first floor, all of those APs are working. It's just like if you are there in any one of them. And as you move around, the signal moves around with you. And that's kind of the same thing that holds true here. So this is a really, really big thing. Let me see if I can find that article where they talk about this. Yeah, here, advanced lasers. This thing is like, I'm telling you, it's like amazing. This is what Starlink actually said on their page. They said this, quote, they said, our next generation Starlink optical space lasers, pew pew is what they call them, were launched to orbit on Monday. Another quote, with more than 8,000 space lasers across the constellation, Starlink satellites are able to connect thousands of kilometers apart beyond the view of ground stations and maintain pinpoint accuracy to enable data transfer up to 100 gigabits per each link. Starlink laser mesh, that's what they even call it now. Starlink's laser mesh network allows us to provide truly global coverage and serve those in the most remote locations on Earth, including maritime and aviation. So what this means is, now they're actually calling it a Starlink laser mesh network. What this means is it doesn't matter what part of the planet you're on. It's just like if you were there. So if you're sitting in California and you want to put a request into China, it doesn't need to go under the ocean anymore. It literally just bounces through the mesh network, right? Through lasers, and then it comes right back down to you. So what I was telling you guys, and what's going to end up having to happen is these ground stations are going to go away because the ground stations are acting as those antennas and sending the data back and forth, right, to the satellites and to your dish. Well, what's going to end up having to happen is the POPs, or the point of presence, are going to end up having to have all of that capability, or those antennas, those uplinks and downlinks at the POPs. Those POPs are really close to the backbone of the internet. So once they do this, shit's going to get really, really crazy. your latency is going to go down dramatically, because a lot of the latency that we experience, let's say if you're a gamer and you're seeing a latency of 50 milliseconds, right? Because you're using Starlink. Well, a lot of that latency is not going up to the satellite and back down. That's pretty damn quick. The time that it takes to go from your dish up to a satellite and back down is about 4 to 6 milliseconds. That's it. People don't know that. They think it's slow. It's not slow. Remember, those satellites are at 550 kilometers. They're not like Verisat or what's the other one? HughesNet or any of those pieces of crap, right? Those satellites are geocentric or geostationary satellites that are sitting at 36,000 kilometers, not 550 kilometers. Just think of the difference. 36,000 kilometers. So there's a big latency there, right? Well, that latency, like I said, is going to go away once we don't need those ground stations anymore. And the data will go directly to those POPs. So it just rips the ground stations out completely. And what they stated here, but they didn't really get into it, and they didn't explain what is so big here. When they say this, and they say that the, where did they have that here? Here, it says the Starlink laser mesh networks allows us to provide total global coverage to serve those in the most remote locations. What does that mean? So if you are watching me right now from Canada, for example, well, in Canada, there's no ground stations. Why that is, I don't know. Maybe it's the government. I don't know. There should be ground stations, but there's not. So what happens is everyone in Canada is using ground stations in the northern portion of the US, right? So that's a long distance, right? That's a long distance. That slows shit up. Well, for many moons, people are like, I want a ground station near me. Well, now with this new system, you don't need a ground station near you anymore. There's people in Europe where, like, let's say they're in Italy, but they don't have a ground station like in Greece, for example, or somewhere really far away. And they're like, well, that's all that we have. And all of that latency comes from that. Anyways, I run on and on and on, but I just wanted to tell you why this is such a big deal. It's a really big deal, guys, a really big deal. Anyways, let's get into some more questions. Peter says, bathroom remodeling. I don't want to hear the bathroom. The wife is away. There's no remodeling going on. Actually, tomorrow there will be. Roy says, hit the like button. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Anyone is here, hit a like button. And if you are here and you're here for the first time, or if you're here for the last time because you absolutely hate me, that's fine. Give us a thumbs up or maybe even a thumbs down. I'm okay with that. Or just throw an emoji in there. Or just something, just so I know that you're here, just so I can say hello. Let's see. Miles says, mine is used in the Boondocks. I do have it up and running. Nice. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Gary says Starlink's selling dishes for $72 and $120 per month. 72. I haven't even seen 72 before. That's amazing. I've seen some people getting Starlink for $90 a month. That's the cheapest I've seen it. US money. Let's see. Daryl says hello from NC. How are you doing? Let's see. More pizza. Yar says he's having, it says what type of pizza? Today, what kind of pizza did we have today? Today we had spinach pizza with like some cheese and some organic heirloom tomatoes, that kind of stuff. It was pretty good. Pretty good. Eric says, do you see Starlink upping their duty cycle past 14% in the future? How far do you think that they can go before starting to have to weenie roast over the dish? Yes, that's a really good point. Okay, Eric asks basically how much more can they increase the duty cycle? Now, if you don't know what the hell that is, it's okay. Think of the duty cycle of your dish. The old duty cycle was at about 7%. What that means is, to make it easy, it's not exact, but we're just making it easy. Let's say the connection, the handshake between you and the satellite is 7% of the time, right? It's connected 7% of the time. Then it releases and then it connects again. Then it releases and it connects again, right? Whenever it needs to, 7%. They up that to about 14, I think it's 14.5%. Doubling the duty cycle. So what that does is it doesn't really increase the speed, but what it does is it reduces latency, and it also reduces the amount of time that it takes for it to reconnect. And you don't have those minor dropouts, or as many of them, right? So what he's asking is how much higher, how much further can they go past 14%? Well, According to what they were giving right now, 14.5 was all that they were allowed to do. They did try duty cycles all the way up to 100%. And yes, just like he said, you can like, roast a weenie over the damn thing. There's a lot of radiation, right? So you can only turn it up so much or have it on for so long. So I don't know how much further past 14.5% they're going to allow, but I'm sure they're going to push it as far as they can. And probably the new dish that they are coming out with, they probably already have set up that 14.5 duty cycle built into it. And maybe they have some safeguards going on around it. It's a possibility. I've always said, I've always talked about that. If you take one of these dish and you stick it on the top of your RV and your head is underneath here all day long, is that going to harm you? And my understanding is no, because the radiation is actually going up, away, and not down. But who knows? Maybe the new dish will actually add like another layer of foil or another layer of something to dissipate that radiation. So I don't have an answer for you, but it's a really good question. Let's see. JD, what does JD have to say? It says, recovering my computer from big lightning strike. Oh my God, that sucks. Took out 5 network switches, 4 UPSs, and 7 Ubiquiti radio towers. Oh my God, that is a horrible strike. Yeah, I had a bad strike over here too, where we lost computers, we lost a couple of routers, we lost the TV and some other stuff. But that strike actually didn't go through the UPS. It actually went through the Ethernet cable and blew up all of my crap right through the Ethernet cable. There's something to be said about using Wi-Fi, I guess, right? Peter says, we have open borders here in Europe. Well, that's true. There you go. Open borders in Europe. Eric says, amen. Amen. Let's see. Let me go through here. I know I'm going to fall behind. I don't want to fall behind. Spaceman says, are you going to try the video call tonight? I got Speedify set up and the Starlink in my old crowd. Okay. So, Spaceman, I didn't have time to figure out what the hell was wrong with the audio. This week has been just absolutely crazy. I just had a lot to do. It's been nuts. So maybe next week. And then maybe we can get you live or maybe someone else or a bunch of people live on the show with me. That's going to be the goal. That was a lot of fun. They couldn't hear you, but it was fun for me talking to you. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. Let's see. Josh says, let's see. What do you do what do I do if I have 2 adapters for a LAN cable? Both don't work. And messed up the signal between. What should I do? So you have 2 adapters for a LAN cable. Both don't work. Well, that is a problem. That is a big problem. Yeah, so I would, if neither of the LAN adapters are working, are you sure that it's the LAN adapters and not the cables, or what? Sometime, I would go all the way back down to cables before I even look at the adapters, because sometimes these cables are the ones that end up going bad. So check that out. Let me know in the comments if you have more information on that. Let's see. The tower was grounded to a grounding rod too. That's amazing. You still got that lightning strike. That's horrible. Do you need to wait for a new for the new satellite for the T-Mobile Starlink cell deal? So that's a great question. I think that the current satellites, the version 2 minis, do have the capability of reaching out and touching someone on the ground, holding a phone. Okay. Don't quote me, but I'm almost positive they do. So I don't think we're waiting on that. I think there's other stuff that we're waiting on. The whole deal between T-Mobile and Starlink, that shit should have been done like a long time ago. That's kind of like stalled, and there's other companies getting involved, and I don't know what's going on with that. But I would say hang tight. I think that they can do it. I think that there's something that just doesn't feel right, why it's not already going on. Apple has it already, right? With their emergency service through satellite nonsense, So there's no reason why they shouldn't with T-Mobile. Spaceman says, I get 1 bar on T-Mobile's 4G at my house. Would 5G home internet, or would 5G, oh, I lost it. Why does it jump around like that? Would 5G home internet still be available with a MIMO antenna? Yeah, so the MIMO antennas, okay, the way they work, make sure that you get a 4-connector MIMO antenna. There's a dual, there is an LP, which is a log antenna, and then there's a flat MIMO antenna. They have 4 connectors. Get the one with 4. One of those 4 is a 5G antenna cable. So it will absolutely work. If you use one of those MIMO external exterior antennas, they will connect to LTE, they'll connect to 4G, they'll connect to 5G, 5GE, whatever. It'll connect to all of it. So yes, definitely get a MIMO antenna, external one, and it'll work with all of it. They work awesome. Matter of fact, I'm using one right now. And it's raining outside, so if you haven't seen me drop out as of late, and that's because of T-Mobile, because we know Starlink has a very hard time with the water molecules in the atmosphere. So when it's raining, there's rain fade. It's a problem, all right? So by using this redundant connection that I have going on right now with T-Mobile and Starlink, I don't see any outage. So if you do, let me know. Let's see. Let's go on to the next question here. How are you doing, Scott from South Carolina? Adam Bomb 347. How are you doing? It says, I'm waiting on my Starlink. It should be arriving sometime next week. Congratulations. Holy crap. It's revolutionary. For me, it was life-changing getting Starlink. Especially for me, I had AT&T. My God, guys. I had AT&T DSL at 7.5 megs down by 0.7 megs up. 0.7. That's not 7 megs. That's not 1 meg. It's 0.7 megs. And then they came out, they said, listen, Mr. Christina, we're going to give you another line. We're going to bond these two together. We're going to do a bonded pair for you. I'm like, hell yeah, this is awesome. It increased to 15 megs down and 1.5 megs up. That's what I had for a decade, for longer, forever. AT&T sucks. And their Uverse sucks even worse. People don't understand this, but Uverse is a non-energized connection. It's only signal. So what happens is with DSL, for example, it can go 6,000 feet. It can go 7,000 feet, and you'll still get a connection. Uverse, all right, the new stuff, Uverse only goes about 2,000 feet. If you hit 6,000 feet with Uverse, the thing is just struggling. Once again, it is not a powered signal. It's only signal. It does not have any power to it at all. It's a problem. Anyways, they are trying to get rid of it. They are getting rid of it. AT&T is trying to get rid of all copper. They only want fiber, and then they want everyone that is on DSL or Uverse to trade in their stuff and go to their 5G towers and get what is called AT&T Internet Home. No, AT&T Internet Air. That's what they call it. It's basically the competition to Verizon Home Internet and T-Mobile Home Internet. They did it because they see that it works for the rest of these companies, and they don't want copper anymore. They don't want to deal with copper anymore. They don't want to deal with you anymore. So yeah, AT&T is going to be outie. They're going to be out. So for me, I wouldn't deal with AT&T at all. Zero. Let me get into a few more questions. I'm falling behind, I know. Rusty, how are you doing, Rusty? Welcome. Let's get down into here. $199 Canadian. That's sweet. Thank you, Glenn, for that. People don't know this. If you are in Canada, $199, it will get you Starlink right now. Right now, $199. That is cheap. I paid $5.99 way back in the day. Almost, what is it, year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. It's crazy. Let's see. Question. What is the name of the screensaver you sometimes have behind you with the flying cars? That's a good one. I will let you know. I don't know what it is, but in the community chat, in the community page, I will let you know what that screensaver it is. It's just another YouTube thing that I throw on over there, whatever I can find. But I like that one too. It's got like all of this futuristic flying cars, and it's cool. It's cool. But I'll let you know. Let's see. Brian says, I just got Starlink. I get an average of 30 to 35 megabits with Starlink. Will my speeds increase even more once I get it installed on my roof? And the 6% obstructions is no longer obstructions there. Okay, so 6% obstructions is not a lot. If you're getting 30 to 35 megabits down on average, and it's a residential, it's a problem. Okay, you should be getting faster. That is slow. If it's mobility, I would say, okay, mobility, I see it. But that is a little bit slow. That is slow. I don't like to see that. I would monitor that. I would definitely put it up on the roof where there's no obstructions and see what ends up happening. But I don't know how much more you're going to get with 6%, because that's not a lot. It's not a lot. But I would say reach out to them. If you don't get anything past 30 to 35 megabits, you should be getting close to 100 megabits if it's a residential service. Let's see, we're going on. Big Wave Dragon, thank you for the super chat. Really do appreciate that. It says, great research, great job. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I love the super chats. It just makes me feel good. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for that. It says, I'm trying to recover deleted files from my NAS. A NAS is connected to a Mac via SMB. How do I mount the NAS via disk utility? Now, that's going to go in, Joe. I'm not going to be able to answer that. That's going to be a long answer. Send me a DM and I'll kind of research it a little bit with you. I've had some NAS problems in the past. I ended up building the Unraid server. Matter of fact, I just got a whole bunch of these books back in. Remember this? I talk about it every once in a while. That's my book. How to create a digital Fort Knox, backing up your digital life. I basically wrote this when I built my Unraid server. I went from a RAID server to an unRAID server. The reason being is I ended up losing a lot of files like you on a RAID server. The RAID ended up dying, and when it died, I lost multiple drives and I could only lose one. And by losing two, I ended up losing everything. And some of my backups weren't up to snuff, let's say, as current, and I lost a lot of data, and it's stupidity. With the unRAID server that I have now, I could have lost 2 drives and it wouldn't make any much of a difference. I wouldn't have lost everything, right? Because I would only lost those 2 drives. And then with the way I have it set up now, even with 2 drives, I would have lost nothing. So I really like the unRAID server. And if you're interested in it, matter of fact, I put up, if you go to JCristina.com/book, JCristina.com/book or books, either one, do it. You can get the prologue to this book. Read through it, see if you're interested. If you're interested, buy the book. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it in your local bookstore. You could get it on my website, JCristina. But read the prologue. See if it resonates with you. If it does, then go for it. If it doesn't, then it's free, right? It can't be free. Free is free. Let's see. Let's go on here. Let's see. Explorer 867 says, what is your opinion on the WeBoost Drive Reach OTR? I don't know about the WeBoost. Tell me more about it. I don't have a response on that one. Fragile says, if Starlinks were to do away with ground pop, where would websites detect my location at? So they wouldn't do away with the pops. They would do away with the ground stations. The ground stations are the location that sends the data up to the satellite and back down. Okay, so visualize this. I do a request. It goes out my satellite dish, up to the satellite, from the satellite back down to the ground station. The ground station takes that request and shuttles it off to the POP. The POP goes to the internet, gets the data, shuttles the information back to the ground station. The ground station sends it up to a satellite, and then the satellite bounces it back to me. That's how it works. If we get rid of the ground station, right, then my dish will send the data to a satellite, and then the satellite will send it straight to a POP. It will do away with the ground station altogether. So your location will still be the same. It sucks. Whenever I get on Google, Google says, hey, bud, you're sitting in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm like, no, I'm in West Palm. I'm in Florida. But since my POP is out of Atlanta, Georgia, it thinks that I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. So sometimes I'll be like watching ads, and I got Atlanta, Georgia ads and all kinds of stuff. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. One of the problems is, too, is we don't have our own IP addresses. Why not? Because Starlink and many other service providers, they use CGNAT, which is carrier grade NAT. Carrier grade NAT kind of sucks. It's basically these operators, these ISPs being cheap. So instead of moving on to IPv6, they're using version 4, and V4 only have X number of IP addresses and we're running out. So what they do is they reuse the same IP address. So my IP address will be the same as your IP address, only with a little kind of carrier bit that changes at the end. So it knows where to send the data. So you don't have your own static IP. That's why I always say, like, if you need a static IP, go and use pure VPN. And I tell you to go to JCristina.com/VPN, right? Because they sponsor the show. And then what ends up happening is you get 15% off. But you can get a static IP address and do port forwarding through them for like $2, $2.50, I don't know, something really cheap. And you get your own static IP address where Starlink doesn't give you one. So it's powerful. It's definitely powerful. I do that. Matter of fact, my RAID server, my unRAID server, has its own IP address doing this, meaning that I can go to a hotel somewhere and get right into my RAID server, whereas normally I couldn't do that using Starlink. All right. So anyways, it goes deeper than that, but that's kind of like the skinny behind it. Let's see. Terrence, how you doing, Terrence? It says, I'm watching from a rural Australia via 55 milliseconds. Not bad. That is a pretty good ping out of Australia. Let's see. Buddy, St. John question. Do you think you'll need to wait for the new satellites? Like I said, no, you do not have to wait. Bob, thank you so much, Bob, for that membership for 15 months. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bill France, thank you. Oh my God. Bill, thank you for that super chat. Wow. Really do appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Rusty. Super chat from Rusty. My goodness. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. And John, a super chat. Thank you, John. Man, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Let's see. Roy says, I enjoy watching you and learning a lot out of Michigan. Thank you. Larry says, wife says you're repeating things. I do that all the time. Tell your wife I do have a problem and I repeat myself. And then if I get excited, I might repeat myself even more. Maybe I'll get a little twitch and I'll do something kind of crazy. That's just how I am, you know. I'm sorry, guys. Anyways, I digress. Let's see. Let's see. Skynet Network. I love it. Blessings from Texas. Thank you for being here. Randy, thank you for being here. John N. Wolf. Got another aid. Yes, thank you so much, John, for being here. Question from Peter. I just got an ad break. What the hell? They're pushing ad breaks? What is going on with that? I didn't tell them to push an ad break. How do they do that? It's YouTube. I think it's something new. Like if I'm on for like longer than 30 minutes, I think they just like send an ad break or something. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm sorry, guys. If you got an ad break, my apologies. I don't know why that is. I'll have to look into it. Kamikaze Ozzy, how are you doing? He says, some of us lurk quietly in the background, always enjoying the discussion. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Once again, if you guys are here in the comments, throw a thumbs up, say hello, put a little emoji in there, whatever. Do something just so I can see that you're here, all right? I would appreciate that. It makes me excited. I like to see when everyone is here and they're kind of conversing in the chat. If I miss one of your questions, because there's a lot and I'm kind of scrolling through them as quick as I can, if I miss your question, put it in again. It's okay. If it comes up twice, I'll answer it twice and you'll hear me repeat myself. And then your wife will say, he's repeating himself again. That's okay. I don't mind. I'll repeat myself over and over. John says, did you hear about the worst hailstorm in Austin? I did not. Baseball size hails. Man, I did not hear about that. That is not good. That is not good. We have family members in Texas. I didn't hear anything about no hailstorm. Wow. Communication blackout is their goal. It's possible that is from Skyland. Let's see. Loving Cuz says, I'm getting Starlink, was on the waiting list for a day and received an email. Holy shit. Loving Cause. Are you kidding me? I was on the waiting list for 9 months. You're on the waiting list for a day. There has got to be people out there hating you. Don't say this to anyone. Don't repeat it. No, that's really awesome. That is great. You will just absolutely love it because honestly, I mean, all kidding aside, SpaceX Starlink is definitely by far, hands down, the best internet service provider that is non-terrestrial, that is coming from space, period. And it's a really good service provider, even coming from space, in comparison to some of the terrestrial providers that we have. So they're doing a really good job, and I think they're going to get better and better with time. Now that we see that they have their pew-pews, their high-speed lasers on each one of these satellites that are going to be going up that are 100 gigabit lasers, freaking crazy, 100 gigabit lasers, it's going to get faster. And then once we start seeing the bigger satellites up there, it's going to get even faster than that. Let's see. Let's see. Rusty says maybe why China is trying to do what SpaceX is doing. You're right. Yeah, China is trying to. He said, I was always wondering why the lasers ultimately are intended to be used for war situations and to redirect each one's target. A conspiracy theory that I know, yes. So, yeah, the Chinese are going to be launching 13,500 Starlink-esque satellites. Okay, they're working on it because they see what Elon Musk is doing and how powerful it is. And the idea of having internet, see what people understand is this. If you go to war with another country, right, and they want to cut off, let's say we'll just speculate, Russia wants to cut off our ties with Europe, right? That's all they have to do is take a sub, go into the middle of Atlantic, go down to the very bottom and chop the friggin' fiber, and you're pretty much screwed. Okay? That's it. That's just how it works. The same thing that happened in the Ukraine. They blew up all their communications, and that's it. You have no more communications. It's like a blackout. You don't know what's going on anymore. Can you imagine you pick up your iPhone, and you're like, hello? There's no one there anymore. I don't got nothing. I don't got my stock report. I can't text my kids. I can't look at it. Everything's dead. People will lose their shit, right? So they understood that. The Chinese said, you know what? We need to do what Elon Musk is doing here. And that's exactly what they're doing. So they're putting 13,500 satellites into orbit. Obviously, it's not the 42,000 that Elon's going to have, but they don't feel like they need that many. Also, they're going to be putting them lower. They're going to be actually positioning, the Chinese are going to be positioning their satellites closer to Earth than Elon Musk's. So instead of Elon Musk being at about 550 to 530 kilometers off Earth, supposedly the Chinese are going to be putting their satellites in around the 300 plus range. So, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? It's good because they're going to have extremely fast speeds because they're closer, right? But it's going to be really problematic for them because as you get closer and closer to Earth, the drag, not theoretical, the actual physical drag on the spacecraft becomes greater and greater and greater. So the amount of fuel that it takes it to stay at the height that it's at the altitude, becomes more and more and more. So where SpaceX Starlink satellites are usually going to be in orbit for about 4 to 5 years, according to Elon. 4 to 5 years. After that, they're going to deorbit and they're going to burn off and you're going to see them as like a little fireworks show. That's what ends up happening with them. Okay. So if they're sitting at 300, the lifespan, if they have the exact same amount of fuel as Starlink does, for example, their lifespan will probably be, instead of 5 years, will be like 2 years, maybe less. So I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe the satellites are just going to simply be bigger, beefier, more robust, more fuel. I don't know. But anyways, that's what I've been hearing. So there's going to be a lot more satellites up there. Even South Korea was saying that they want to put satellites up there. Everyone is talking about satellites. After Elon did this, there is like, the bandwagon is, it's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyways, moving on here. Eric says, let's see, from Hughes, Usenet. to Starlink was life-changing. Enabled us to sell our house in Dallas and move to the country in the middle of nowhere. Exactly. That is exactly the case. You can literally move to the middle of nowhere with SpaceX Starlink and have full functionality, full internet access, just like if you're in a city. That is what is so cool about it. That's what's amazing. Let's see. Jeff says, it's been many years ago that I saw a slow connection. Peter says this. Peter, stop rubbing it in. I know you're on a gigabit, Peter. Man. Let's see. Spaceman says, I've had Starlink satellite running for about 4 days now, and it is super obstructed, really. It was dropping out every 10 minutes at first, but now it drops out every 2 minutes. Yeah, so just so you know, people don't know this, but if you get Starlink, when you set it up and you're in an obstructed area and there's a lot of trees and stuff, right? What they will do in comparison to what they did when I first started with beta, if you had trees, you're screwed. They're like, yeah, you got obstruction, screw you, you know? Now what they do is they check the entire sky and then they see where the range of satellites are going to be, right? What that angle of inclination, let's say, where those satellites are going to be in accordance to your dish. Then they will rotate the dish slightly to get the maximum number of satellites. Okay. And then you'll see them where they're normally red, where all the trees are, you'll see it just black out. And what it'll do is it'll automatically know internally that there's trees. It's a tree line there and not to even bother looking there. So that being said, you don't want them to have to do that. You want them to get as much of the sky as possible. So try to get rid of as much obstructions as you can. It's going to behoove you to do that because you're going to end up with better coverage, right? Not better speed, but better coverage. You're not going to have those 2-minute out time here, there, and elsewhere. All right. So it's something to look into. Mickley 20277 says, I like the version 1 dish. I think it's better than the version 2. Kind of is. I like the version 1 dish, but it's round, it's bigger, less rain fade. It also provides you with an Ethernet built into the back of it, which is really nice. You don't need a dongle. The dongleification of everything like Apple did. You don't need a dongle, which is sweet. And also the old version 1s have a reset button on the bottom of them. That's cool too. But the version 3s, the 3rd edition, is almost identical. So anyone that has a 1st edition, if you want, you can purchase a 3rd generation and it's going to use your PoE, your power over Ethernet injector. It's going to use everything. So I would say if you can, pick up one of the new 3rd generation routers because it's going to give you, I believe it's Wi-Fi 6 instead of Wi-Fi 5 and some other functionality. So check into that. Let's see. Glenn says, remember speed tests with Ethernet, not Wi-Fi. Absolutely. Whenever doing speed tests, Glenn has a point there. Do a speed test using your Ethernet cable. Do not use Wi-Fi because your Wi-Fi sometimes will be doing well, sometimes not. There could be some type of interference. Wi-Fi is not the best way to go. Let's see. Gary says, question, is your shirt for sale? Look at that. Look at that. This one is not in the shop. I have some others. If you go to JCristina.com, there's some merch in there. There's some, I just did a 1776 flag, which was pretty cool. I did my Megabit, my little character. He's like a spaceman. He's in there. Anyways, check that out. I wonder if I can bring that up. Maybe I can. Can I? I don't know. Let me see. JCristina.com. Will it pop up? Let's see. Maybe it will. Yes, it does. There you go. So yeah, so if you go over to the website and then click on shop, right at the very top, obviously you can see my teas are up here. Here's some of my wipes, my Aurora camera care products, my PRT, which is the focus, this photo correction, the color correction tool, and then the autofocus lens calibration tool that I created. This I invented about 10 years ago now. Anyways, this right here, if we keep on going down, here's some of the merch. You have your tea time, and then we have a bunch of shirts. This is the 1776 photo. Mediocrity is no longer acceptable. This is the logo, My Time Machine. Another one, Life After Adobe, cutting the cord. And then here's Megabit. I love Megabit. This dude is simply cool. I like this guy. There you go. There he is. Anyway, so yeah, you can take a look at any one of those. I have those in there. I do not have this shirt up. This is a shirt that I forgot. Someone got this for me. I don't remember who it was. I love this shirt, though. It's the Punisher. Can't beat the Punisher, right? I don't want to make the Punisher. I'll probably get sued. Can't make the Punisher. Let's see. Hudson says, also watching from rural Aussie. Nice. 33 milliseconds. That's nice. Nice. That's good. Brian says, my Starlink account page says standard. Does that mean I am not on residential? No, standard is residential. Same exact thing. Same. The only time it would be different if it said mobile, if it said business class or RV or something like that. No, standard is standard. Let's see. Moving on. Ad blockers are great. Yar says, yes. Montana, how are you doing, Ryan? Welcome. Mike, how are you? Richard, how are you doing? Charles Jones, how are you doing, Charles? Thank you for being here. Eric says, we love the show. Appreciate that, Eric. Thank you so much. Thank you. John says, unless you have YouTube Premium, you will get ad breaks at some point. Really? See, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that ad breaks even pop up. Honest to God, it's the weirdest thing. Because I don't remember anyone ever saying that they got ad breaks before during the show. So maybe they changed something, or maybe there's something that I need to change because they automatically changed it. I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that. Because when I'm live, I don't want you to go out on like an ad break. I don't need ads on here. Kind of stupid. It's kind of weird. Anyways, let's see. Houston says, or Hudson says, they're selling Starlinks at my local big box store now. Yes, I'm hearing that there is Starlinks being sold at like a lot of the big box stores now, right? Which is really cool. Really cool. Mike says, I was waiting for 2 years. Yeah, I was waiting for 9 months. 2 years is longer than me, for sure. Kevin, how are you doing, Kevin Edwards? Thank you for being here. What is this? Hands, it says, great job. We have Starlink Roam currently in Lexington, NC. Nice, Kevin. Nice. Sweet. Danny Boy says, waiting for delivery on my Starlink, thinking about putting it up on a 30-foot flagpole and clear the obstructions in hopes of stabilizing. Yes. So if you do that, you do the 30-foot pole, all right, Danny Boy, you do a 30-foot pole. Do the 30-foot pole, make sure it's about 2-3 feet in the ground, make sure you have cement, at least a couple of bags of Sac Creek in there, and make it really stable, all right? Also, I would recommend getting a good 6 to 8 foot copper rod, right? And away from the pole, pound that into the ground, and then hook a jumper cable up to the top of it, to the mast, just in case. You don't want to get a lightning strike and then it goes through all of your electronics and stuff. You want it to actually dissipate straight into the ground. So ground that pole. But yes, a 30-foot pole and putting the Starlink at the top, smart. Good stuff. Let's see. Peter says, Hendrik, no, we have freedom. All right, I'm not going to get into that's Peter talking over there. Bob, Amos, how are you doing? Bob says, love Starlink if you don't have to deal with support. Yes. That's why I'm here. I am Starlink support. Oh, man. I've been doing this ever since beta, right? Ever since the very beginning. And I mean, the channel has always been tech. It's always been video and photo, and then we moved into Starlink because I got Starlink. And then people wanted to know more and more about it, so I was telling people as I'm learning, I'm teaching you guys, right? That's what I do here, right? I'm not like an expert. I don't work for these people. But as I've learned since beta, I've told you everything that has gone on for the last year and a half. And people have appreciated it, and they really have enjoyed it, and that's why I've been making these videos, and I got 192 of them so far up. Over 1,000 on this channel in totality. But I am a DP. I'm a director of photography. I do episodic TV, that type of stuff. I do directing as well as doing the production and the lighting and all the camera work and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what I went to school for. But I also went to school for administrative work, for system administrator work. So I am a computer scientist also. So I'm an artist, but also a computer scientist. So I could program in assembly code, but then I can paint you a mural in gouache. Yeah. So yeah, that's who I am. I don't know. I'm like one of those people. I never figured out exactly what I want to be when I grow up. That's me. Let's see. Let's get back to some of these questions. See, I digress. Right? If my wife was here, she would have kicked me. Let's see. Peter, there's Peter. He's back in here. Mike. Mike, it says you have to click the ads off for lives. Okay, I'm going to have to look at where that is, Mike. Thank you for telling me that. I'm going to have to see. Because I never turned them on. And they never used to be on. So it's like maybe they were auto-turned on or something. I'll have to look into it. Low-Tech Greg, how are you doing, my friend? He says, about to shoot myself in the foot, but I don't have YouTube Premium and I don't get ads. Really? And I don't get ads. So he's not getting ads. What? That's cool. That's interesting. Let's see. Moving on. Pine Woods 01. I have premium and have never had ads. So there you go. No ads if you have premium. Cody, how are you doing, Cody? It says I have bad internet, but want to order Starlink. My mind is saying to wait for the third generation. So look, Cody, don't wait for third generation. Because you really don't need to. They just keep on updating it anyways. I've been getting questions about the third generation routers that have come out, and people with second generation say, hey, I have a second generation router. Can I buy a third generation? And the answer to that is no, you can't, because a third generation router is only to upgrade a first generation router. A third generation router has or needs the PoE, or the Power over Ethernet adapter. It uses Ethernet cable. Cat 5, Cat 6, Cat 8 uses Ethernet cable. Doesn't use the proprietary cable. It's a different router. So you cannot upgrade from version 2 to version 3, but you can upgrade from version 1 to version 3. Don't ask. That's just the way it is. So to upgrade from version 2, they're probably going to have a version 4. Okay? And then the version 4, I'm hoping, will be like an amalgam of the two. It'll kind of put them both together, and now moving forward from 4 on in perpetuity, we'll all be on the exact same one. So wait or not to wait is the question, and the answer to me would be don't wait. If you have shitty internet, trust me, order Starlink. It will be life-changing to you. And I don't work for these damn people, right? And I don't get paid by these people to say it or anything like that, or anything. I mean, I wish they would give me 50 cents for every one of these Starlinks I've sold over the last year and a half. I probably wouldn't have to work. Anyways, that being said, I know some people say, oh, you're always pushing the Starlink, and it's like, you must be getting paid by Elon. Yeah, Elon doesn't even know who the hell I am. Never mind paying me. Let's see. Tom, how are you doing, Tom? Tom says, I just popped in. No ads for me, but I subscribe to YouTube. So there you go. I subscribe to YouTube too, but I get ads too sometimes. I think it's only premium. If you subscribe, if you subscribe to YouTube, I think you get no ads, I believe. I subscribe to YouTube TV, but I get ads. I think you have to, like you said, subscribe to YouTube itself. It's a money thing. It's a money thing, It is what it is. Let's see. Voluptuous body. Laughing my ass off. Thank you for that. I'm waiting on the poll. All right. That poll will be coming hopefully soon. The Useless Speed Up channel. I like that name. That's awesome. Watching the show on Starlink, Outback, Australia. Amazing. Amazing. TikTok Master. How you doing, TikTok Master? It says, we have Starlink Standard. I have upgraded to Priority Data, even if I have residential kit. It says, can I upgrade to Priority Data even if I have a residential kit? Yeah, so you can upgrade to Priority Data if you want. You don't really need to, but if you want that priority or the business class, I would say get a business class dish and get the business class bill. And you're going to get faster speeds. That's it. If you can afford it, it's $2,500 for that for that dish. I think for the unit, and then it's like, I think it's $250. I don't know. Just correct me if I'm wrong. About $200, $250, whatever for the business class. It's going to be more expensive, but you are going to get faster speeds. Let's see. Don't buy one. Some people say, oh, can I buy one of the big dish and then I'm going to get faster speeds? No, you have to pay them more money to get faster speeds. If you buy the big ass dish, what that means is you're going to get less rain fade. That's it for your $2,500. That's about it. Don't do it. Ron says, love Starlink up in the rural Western Kentucky. Nice. Let's see. Moving on. Jose, how are you doing, Jose? Latency is 16 to 56 on average. 24 speed, 210. 45 up. It's not bad. You got some good speeds there, Jose. Some sweet speeds. I like that. Michael, how are you doing, Michael King? Using a 12-foot Starlink pole attached to a 2x4 attached to the chimney. That works. Make sure that 2x4 is treated. Not it's going to rot. You don't want that to happen. If not, just use metal. That always works, or aluminum. John K. Wolf says, I have Starlink and loves it. Absolutely. Very, very stable. It is pretty damn stable. It is stable. Yar says, I'm walking the same path of programmers behind an artist. Sadly, my drawings are shit. Yeah. No, I hear you. I still draw. I still paint. I paint on the iPad sometimes just because it's easier. I just enjoy it. You know what? Some people don't even know. Let me get something here. Let me show you something. I know I just walked off. From you guys. Look, so this is the kind of stuff that I do. Right? You see that? That right here is a painting that I did. Obviously, you know who that is. My favorite girl. It's Harley, right? Anyways, this I did. This was done on the iPad. Then I did this last Halloween or the Halloween before. You know who that is, right? That's my girl, right? Jack's girl. See her back here? Anyways, so this is the kind of stuff, so I love this. So I still do the drawings. I still do painting. I still do all of the art stuff because I think creativity is everything in life. That's just for me. Like if you're I'm mathematical and I'm creative at the same time. I'm an artistic person, like I said, dual brain. And so, I can draw with my left hand and my right hand, even though I'm righty. Sometimes I draw better with my left hand because I think I process stuff better. I can take a picture and just turn it upside down and draw it upside down with my left hand, and it'll come out better. And when you turn it up, it'll be perfect. That's just how I'm wired. And, everyone is different. So try different things. Like if you are an artist, just change things up. Sometimes you get in a rut and you do the same shit over and over and over and you wonder why you're not getting any better. Literally try drawing with your other hand, or turn the picture upside down and draw just the shapes and the colors and lack of colors and lack of shapes and the negative and the positive spaces. Just draw those. And then when you flip it over, everything will come together. Just some hints on, how I do stuff. Anyways, let me see. Speed right now. 200. Oh, this is Hudson says 209 down by 27.92 up. That is sweet. That's some good speed. That is some nice speed. Can't beat that. Bob Amos, how are you doing, Bob? Bob says we have even here 2 years and it was great. 2 years now. Hold on, getting changed. Good. Okay, from Washington East. Oh, from Washington. All right, Bob. Wow. Let me see. Bob, what does Bob say here? I have had Starlink for 18 months now, and every day the service is getting progressively better. That's pretty good. We had Starlink for a long time, and then it got progressively shit. Our Starlink got really bad for a little while, and then all of a sudden they fixed it. It just started getting better again. And it has to do with saturation. Just so you guys know, I am like a stone's throw away from an amusement park, you would call it. And so what ends up happening is during season, the park gets filled with people that are in RVs, campers, people that are visiting the park. And so what ends up happening is the amount of people in my node, in my area for Starlink gets super saturated. So if there's normally 100 people, all of a sudden there's like 500-600 people. Congestion. So that's what happens over here. But they have somehow learned this because it's getting better, which is good. Let's see. Welshel, I don't know. He says, question. I now have 7 hardwired mesh APs on Armada covering most of the 50 acres. My question is, have you done a video on FTP? Your mesh videos got me this far. Now I need FTP video. So I have not done any videos on FTP stuff. So it's something that maybe we can look into. It's a little bit more of a specific type of request, and it's not going to be as many people that are going to be interested in it, but I'll look into it. And if it's something that I can do pretty quick, maybe I'll pop one of those out there. Scott from South Carolina says YouTube Premium, $10 per month, no ads. Absolutely. Bob says YouTube subscription. Yes. That's it. It is a good way to go if you can afford the extra $10. Kamikaze says, I've been on almost an hour and no ads. You see? No ads. There it is. Spaceman says, the Quest 3 from Meta or Facebook was just announced. Any thoughts on mixed reality workspaces and the crazy augmented reality stuff in the companies? I think a lot of this augmented reality and virtual reality stuff is just, it is something that's going to be a thing, but it's just not here yet. I just think that they just haven't really figured it out yet. I think once they start, getting it down and it becomes less, let's say, obtrusive, like we have this horrible once they can make it very thin, very lightweight, and it actually works good and it works well, I think that it's going to be something that's very cool. I do kind of fear it in a way too, because once it is really good, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be living in like a metaverse someplace instead of interacting with people and not having a means of communication anymore. They just become secluded, right? And they're behind their computers and just, like the dude down in the basement, that smells because he hasn't taken a shower in a week and he's like just running on Fortnite all day long or something, So it's just, I don't know. I kind of fear it. I kind of do. But there's positives and negatives to everything. And it's like how you use it. Like ChatGPT, it's really powerful. I use it for some things that I do, but you can use it as a crutch too, and then all of a sudden expect it to do everything for you, but it really doesn't do everything well. You just got to know what to do with it. As a matter of fact, that's some of the videos that I've been working on that I haven't put out there yet. I'm going to be doing some more of the AI stuff because I've been really working on a lot of it lately. So I'll be kind of showing you guys that in the near future on the channel, AI, and what I use it for and how I use it and how I use it more effectively. There's some people, they just use it as face value instead of digging. I dig deep into everything. It's like, that's just, I got a problem. Eric says 250 per terabyte per month. Wow, that's it. There you go. Michael says, thought I read when I bought the mesh that 3 was the most you should use. 7 is impressive. Yeah, you can use many. I'm not sure what the number is. I think they originally were only selling 3. But I think you can connect more than 3. If I'm wrong, someone let me know. If you have connected more than 3 Starlink routers together in a mesh network in the chat, let us know. I think that you can do more. Michael says, thank you so much. Thank you very much for your great information on Starlink. Mine should be here sometime in the next 2 weeks. Congratulations. That's awesome. I live in East Alabama. More about the center. Looking to get rid of your bright speed DSL. Yeah, bright speed. Crap speed DSL. Absolutely. I hear you. Let's see. Let me see. Terrence, how are you doing? Terrence says everyone is capable of being left, right, brained. Yeah, yes. Balance. It's a matter of practice and mindset. Absolutely. Yeah. You can do left and right. You could be ambidextrous. You could do, like for me, like I said, with me, I can use either hand. I've always been like that, but there's certain tasks, if I use my opposite hand, then what I normally would use is my right hand. If I was to start drawing with my left hand, it just simply reroutes stuff, and I can do a more accurate job. When I draw with my right hand, I feel like Sometimes I'm not drawing what I see. Sometimes I'm drawing what I think I see. But if I use my left hand, I actually draw what I see. That's just me. Everyone is different. But yeah, it is definitely a brain thing. You just have to work it. Just like a muscle. You go to the gym, you're constantly, working those muscles and they're going to build up. That's just how it is. Let's see. Kamikaze Ozzy says 4 Starlink dishes are better than 2 or 3. There you go. Bunch of them is a good way to go. If you can have multiple Starlink dishes, that's fantastic. But bear in mind, if one goes down, most likely they will all go down, because that means it's probably let's say a link problem, maybe. So I'm definitely a proponent of having multiple redundant internet connections from different service providers. That's what I do. Let's see. Spaceman says using Speedify. That's what I'm using right now. Should I put it in speed mode or redundant mode? So leave it alone. Leave it on auto. And what happens is like right now it says streaming redundantly. If my Ethernet cable, which is my Starlink, or my T-Mobile, which is the wireless, right? If they were both perfect, 3 stars on all of them, no problems, no latency, no outage, no nothing. Instead of it saying redundancy, it says streaming with bonding. When it's bonded, what it does, it will stream, but it will stream as fast as possible. But if it sees a problem with one of the 2 connections, or 3 connections, or 4 connections, it will start streaming redundantly. What that means is it will send mirrored packets, the exact same data, down both channels, down both paths, and whichever one gets there first wins. And then it just sloughs off the other one. So this way you never go down. That's called packet level or packet-based redundancy, packet-based bonding in comparison to session-based. You don't want session-based. Most of the modems out there are session-based unless you pay a lot of money. And those just are not the way to go, right? So anyways, yes. It works out really well. Leave it on auto. It knows what it's doing. Let it do its thing. Larry says 3 versions, or I guess 3rd version, has built in RJ45, yes, Ethernet, where the old versions do not. Yes, they do. That is like something new in there. The original version 1s do use a standard RJ45 cable, a standard Ethernet cable, Cat 5, Cat 6, Cat 7, Cat 8, whatever. Whereas the version 2s, they do not. They use a proprietary cable. So yeah, that's an issue. And that's one of the reasons why you can get a version 3 to upgrade a version 1, but you can't get a version 3 or a 3rd generation to upgrade a 2nd generation. It won't work, right? So let's see. Peter says, I've heard that if you use an ad blocker, YouTube will block you at some point. I don't know. I didn't know. I really don't know if that's the case. I wouldn't doubt it. They know everything. They follow what you do. Monsanto says, in Portugal, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. I'm having 271 megabits down and 41 megabits up with 29 milliseconds latency. That is a fantastic speed. Thank you for that. Let's see. Moving on. Let's see. Here we go. Spaceman says, I talked to Starlink support about software optimization for obstructions, and they claim that Starlink does nothing to avoid obstructions. Bullshit. I don't know. It actually does. I mean, I don't know what they're talking about. You can watch it. Take a look. Look at your obstructions. Leave it so it, reset it to factory, right? Let it find all of your obstructions. See where all the red is. You'll see all the trees, right? And then give it like a week. Give it a few days, whatever. Then go back and look. And you'll see where those trees were is going to be dark. It's not going to use those areas anymore. So I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Unless they change something, that's the way it's always been. So I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. That's weird. Let's see. Moving on. All right. Let me just get into, there was a couple of things before I get into any more questions. There was a couple of things I wanted to get into because people just, they kind of lost it. It was like a really big thing. I did a video where I was talking about SpaceX Starlink suffering a loss of 212 satellites. And people were like, are you serious? And yes. So I did this article. It was one of these things that it blew up. This video has got like 140,000 views or something. And what ended up happening is there was a bunch of satellites that ended up burning up. And there is a website out there that tracks these satellites. And they found that there's 212 of these satellites that are missing. Now we know that 40 of them blew up before when that happened. I think it was last year when SpaceX Starlink launched satellites into orbit. They got up to about 300 kilometers, and then they got hit with a solar storm, right? Electromagnetic storm, which pushed them, caused more drag on them, forced them back into the atmosphere, and they burned up. So it was basically a $100 million fireworks show. Anyway, so this is the article that I just want to read some of this off to you because this is what they were talking about. And I know a lot of people had questions about this. It said, Starlink, a satellite constellation operated by aerospace company SpaceX, lost 212 satellites in the period spanning from July 18th to September 18th, according to data compiled by SatelliteMap.space. Remember that, guys. You can go there and check this out, SatelliteMap.space. Data shows a number of burn-up satellites steadily increasing over the past 3 years, but a significant spike can be observed starting the month of July. It is unclear whether the satellites were scheduled to deorbit or whether the burnups were a result of a failure. Cyber News has reached out to SpaceX for comment, but they did not receive one. Some experts questioned the accuracy of the numbers posted on the tracking website, saying that it appears to be unusually high. According to SatelliteMap.space, its data is based on public tracking information published on another site, space-track.org. Once again, space-track.org. Go check that out. You can see all these satellites. It says Starlink satellites are designed to burn up in the Earth's atmosphere at the end of their life cycle, which is approximately 5 years. SpaceX started launching satellites in 2019. Over 5,000 of them have been sent to low Earth orbit, and out of those, there's 4,500 that are believed to be active as of now. Satellites also can be vulnerable to electromagnetic storms, like I just said, with strong solar flares recorded this summer as the sun enters into a period of heightened activity. So what ended up happening, guys, was they lost a bunch of satellites due to an electromagnetic storm. They don't know if that was the cause of these being missing or if it was a problem with the website. So we really don't know what is going on here. We do know that there's some missing. They're saying 212. I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit less. Maybe there's more. Who knows? But we do know that they launched 5,000 of them, and we know that there's about 4,500 that are currently operational. There's 500 that are missing, right? So anyways, that's kind of the gist behind it. And we don't know kind of just steadfast, this is what it is. Well, in this article or in this video, I also brought to you guys' attention how things have been changing with SpaceX Starlink and how the area where the waiting list is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, when I first started, it was right around November of 2021, and there was just over 100,000 subscribers. My dish is dish number 2020 or something, 2000 something, right? Just to give you an idea. So I came in at the beginning, right coming out of beta. I was like the first one to get like the version 2 dish, right? That was after the version 1. Well, between that time, within the first year, they literally went from 100,000 to 1 million by 12/20/22. Last year, right? 12/20/22. They ended up with 1 million subscribers. And then within about 4 or 5 months, they went to 1.5 million. And people were like, holy shit, they just went up 500,000 subscribers. And I'm like, watch, this is going to exponentially grow now. I'm telling you. And that's exactly what has been happening. The growth now, as of September, this month, we're seeing 2 million. So we went literally from 1 million at the end of last year to 9 months later to 2 million. So in 9 months, they got an extra 1 million subscribers. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So it's like a really big deal. It really is. And people don't understand this. I remember when I first started using this and I was telling people, I'm like, look, this is going to be not only revolutionary to people that are in the rural environments like myself, but this is such a big deal. It's going to be really just unbelievable for any type of commercial organization. These trucks, a UPS truck, a FedEx truck, maritime, boats, all of a sudden we see like every damn like ocean liner out there has Starlink. They don't have anything else. They got Starlink, right? All of the planes we're seeing now, even some of the small private planes, they all have Starlink. When my wife flies, she flies a lot private. All of these little Learjets, they all have Starlink, right? Nothing else. So that being said, that's one of the reasons why the government has been looking at Starlink with such a eagle eye and saying, you know what, we need to do something about this. This guy has got us over the coals. I mean, we need our own. And that's one of the reasons why I ended up doing a piece that it's not going to be released until maybe tomorrow. But I worked on it today, and it's going to be entitled something like, is the SpaceX Starlink a military platform? All right, so you heard it here first, okay? So I might release it tomorrow. I might release it Monday. And basically what it talks about is how Starlink, whereas for a while there, it was used by a lot of people viewed it as being a military type of device because they saw Elon send it into the Ukraine. And then all of a sudden from him using it or sending it in as a humanitarian type of thing where they were able to use it as a emergency type of service thing, they started using it for military. And then he's like, no, that's not, I'm not here to give you my product to go kill people. I don't care on which side, right? It's for humanitarian purposes. It's for communication. It's for emergencies, and that's it. So what is happening is Star Shield. Star Shield. So you have Starlink and you have Star Shield. Starlink is the residential, the commercial, the aviation, the maritime, all this crap. And then you have Star Shield, which is DOD, Department of Defense, military. Okay? They're going to purchase X amount of terminals and access satellites, and these satellites are going to have maybe a little bit different stuff on them, right? But they're going to be military only. So this way, Elon no longer has to get involved in any type of war stuff, right? He could be like, look, that's DOD. That's the Department of Defense. That's their shit. This is mine that I work on. Yes, I sold it to them, but what they do with it is not on me, right? That's it. So that's what he's working on. So like I said, it's called Star Shield. Very interesting. And it is something that the government is saying, you know what, we need this, because if all goes bad, just like I said, and they go cut lines in the middle of the Atlantic or in the middle of the Pacific, and there's no more communication, they cut everything off. We need satellites up there in Leo so that we have communication. Because if we don't have communication, we're screwed, right? So it's a really big thing, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. Once again, it's either going to come out tomorrow or it might come out Monday. It's going to be called something like, is SpaceX Starlink a military platform? And a lot of people think it is, but it really isn't. And as of this whole Star Shield, it's definitely not going to be. So interesting stuff anyways, at least to me. Let me see if there's any more questions in here, and then I'm probably going to try to start wrapping things up. If you have any questions for me, put them in the chat. If you're here hanging out, just give the video a thumbs up, say hello, put a little emoji in there, put a poop emoji. I don't know, anything. Put something in there. At least I know that you're here. All right. Let's see. Bajan, how are you doing? Bajan, he says 47 milliseconds at 235 down and 39 up. Almost no blackouts here in the Arctic. Highest speed of 325 down. Holy crap. Bajan, that's awesome. Awesome. Holy Moses. Let's see. Shadow says 45 down and 16 up. Not too bad. The up speed is pretty damn good. Yar says, I'm running ad blockers. Yeah, 24/7 now. You can do that. You can do it for sure. Dennis would love to go to Greenland. Wouldn't that be nice? I would like to go to see Greenland. That would be sweet. Kamikaze says, I've been chatting with ChatGPT. He's been helping me decide who I should vote for in 2024. Quite interesting that the chatbot has such strong political opinions. Kamikaze Ozzy, do you really want me to get into that? Probably not, right? Probably not. Probably demonetize, and then I'll have to like move over to Rumble or somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's been going on, lately. It's just, it's crazy. It is crazy. What we see going on with this country is just absolutely bizarre to me. It's a sad state of affairs, at minimum. Yeah, I'm not going to go any deeper. Let's see. Could you technically use a version 3 Starlink router with a generation 2 dish? I don't know. Probably not. I mean, you could maybe. Remember, they're proprietary cables on the generation 2. On the generation 3, I believe they use standard RJ45, like Ethernet, Cat 5, Cat 6, Cat 7, Cat 8 type of cables, right? So you would probably have to splice into it, and then you would have to feed it using like a PoE, like a power over Ethernet thing. You wouldn't, just don't. Could you do it? I could probably jerry rig it up, but just don't. You don't need to. It just wouldn't be worth it. Terrence says, I've seen it reorient because of obstruction of trees. My neighbor's dish points at different angle because it has no obstructions. You see? That's exactly what I'm saying. It does do that. It will reorient. Now, it's not going to reorient like crazy, but a little bit it will. If it sees a tree that does that and it knows that there is other satellites in different areas, it will change its direction slightly. So yes, it does do that. Dennis says key is to buy a Generation 3 router. Well, if you can get one and you have a Generation 1, then you're okay. Let's see. Scott says 22 more minis just launched. Yes, they did. 22 more minis. And those minis do have the brand new lasers on board that I was talking about in today's video. 100 megabits per laser. And I think each satellite has at least 1 or 2 lasers on them. So you can imagine the speed of these things. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's see. Let's move on down here. Question. How far away can your Starlink dish read a satellite? How far away can the Starlink dish read a satellite? Well, the satellites are at 550 kilometers. So that's not a problem. It can also get data from, higher than that if it needs to. It just, at that point, it's not about the dish. It's more about like how much strength is behind those satellites. How strong are those that can actually pump the data in our direction. Let's see. Question. In my question, let me see here. Dennis says it seems JC is on a pulpit. Sometimes I do. I'm sorry. Let's see. Terrence says Upper Echelon Games channel did an episode on ChatGPT's political bias. It is. I mean, I actually did testing, and that is not like conspiracy theory or anything. It does have a political bias. ChatGPT leans left, if you didn't know it. Whereas if you use Facebook's AI, it leans right. Who freaking knew, right? It does, which is really weird, right? So go test it out. You'll see. Have them fight against each other. Write questions to each other back and forth. Just have the chat bots just sit there and just argue all day between each other. I think that'd be great. What else can we waste time with, right? Let's see. Useful says I get 306 megabits down and 24 megabits up. And that's from Haiti. See that? That is awesome. That is really, really sweet. That's some pretty good, that's good speed out of Haiti. That is fantastic. Can't beat that. So there was just a couple more things before I get out of here. Number one, if you are looking for a discount on SpaceX Starlink, check out Canada. Canada right now has Starlink at about $199. Pretty good. In comparison to $599, $199 is pretty damn good, right? That's out of Canada as of right now. Also, I'm hearing that Starlink might start selling their dish refurbished, also at a discount. Do I have 100% knowledge of this happening? No, but this is what we're hearing down the grapevines. If that happens, I think it's a great thing, because if they stand behind it anyways, get it refurbished. Who gives a crap, right? All of my Apple stuff that I buy is always refurbished. And then what I do is I go and buy like an extended warranty on it, and everything's copacetic. Something goes bad, I send it back, right? And then there's 2 QCs. There's 2 quality controls, right? They test it once, they send it out, it breaks, so someone sends it back for repairs. The Apple refurbishes it, and they send it again. When they refurbish it, they test everything again. So like I said, you get double QC. So I bought a lot of refurbished stuff and never have a problem. Never have a problem. So anyways, check into that if you're looking into it. Also, we're going to see probably in the near future. Let me go and check this out right now. Let me just go over to Starlink. Let's see, starlink.com/map. If you want to join me, you can go over there to starlink.com/map. This is what it looks like right now. So if we zoom in, all right, look at this area here. So all of this up here was dark only about a week and a half ago. Michigan, all of this, Ottawa, this whole area, this whole Detroit, the top end of Ohio, but all this was all dark. It is all light now. The light area means that Starlink is available. You can order it immediately. The darker areas that we see here means that there is a waiting list. So for example, if you're in Florida, if you're in Port St. Lucie, you're golden. If you're down here by me, you're golden. It says available. But as soon as you get up into Tampa, head north a little bit, expanding in 2023, all of this area, with only a couple of little nodes, as I call them, these little nodes where you can get service. So if you're in the Palm Coast over here, you don't get service anywhere, Daytona Beach, nowhere, unless you're in these couple of little pockets, and that is it. All right, that is it. But if you come down south, almost the entire area is available. You can order Starlink anywhere. Now, if we move over, now see this is all this light area. This whole thing is all available. If we move over to Europe, look at Europe. All of Europe is available, right? The only thing that is currently not shown is, of course, the Ukraine. But it did actually show certain areas were available last week when I did the show. Now it just shows as dark because they don't want to have to deal with any shit. That's basically what it is. But what's really cool is you see here it says availability, guys. If you click on that, there is other options. You have availability, download speed, upload speed, and latency. If we click download speed, you see how everything changed? Now we can see where are the fast areas and where are the slow areas. Florida, it goes for about 41 to 130. Whereas if you go into Ohio, you're getting 32 to about 97. But look at the difference, guys. Look at the US, and now look at Europe. Europe is fast everywhere. France, 120 up to 205. Berlin up to 203. Poland up to 220. Look at this. Amazing. Romania up to 228. Italy, 217. Spain, 245. Right? And people are like, why are we so slow in the US and it's so fast in Europe? Well, in the US, we have a ton of congestion. There's a lot of people. It's It's a lot of congestion. Anyways, just wanted to show that to you, to show you what is going on and how things are expanding. So this is kind of exciting news, okay? Exciting news. Anyways, let me just go and see if there's any more. There's one more question down here. It says, any lightning concerns if the dish is mounted on the eave on the side of the house? Not really. I have not seen lightning strike the dish on the side of a house as of yet. Can it happen? Yes. Would it behoove you to take a 6-gauge copper cable and connect it to the dish and run it down into a rod, a 6-foot, 8-foot rod, copper rod into the ground? It would. So I would suggest it. Do you need to do it? No. I have not seen very many get hit by lightning. Now, if you put the dish on the top of a 30, 40, 50-foot pole, put a damn lightning rod on the floor and put a cable up there and ground it. That's my personal opinion. That's what I would do. Anyways, guys, I want to say that it is Friday. I am just blessed that you guys have hung out with me tonight. Once again, you got to see my ugly face instead of my wife being here too. I apologize for that. I hope you've gotten something out of this video, hanging out, this live. If there's anything that you want me to cover that I have not covered that you might want me to cover, like during the week, in the comments of any of my videos or even this one, stick that in there. That would be fantastic, right? I love to hear from all of you. I want to say thank you to everyone for those super chats. I really do appreciate all of your support. There's a lot of you guys that send in super chats and donations and support on many of my videos. It really means a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyways, thank you for being here. Many blessings to you and your family. Have a great one. I'll leave this going for about another minute or two if you guys want to just chat in there, and then I will pull the plug. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. Many blessings. Take care. Have a great weekend, and TGIF. Take care, guys.